girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I like the girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I like the girls with their nails done.
All right, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How's everyone feeling after yesterday? Hopefully good. Good day off. Morning, guys. Buenos dias. Happy Friday. Morning, Chef, Golf Nut, Margin, Ponzi, Pat, Dino. Kavi. Love that name, Vince Peralta. That's a nice name. Got all the fingers still? Good to hear, Tech. Still drunk? Morning. All right. Some crazy moves out there. Fireworks today. You got some fireworks left? Hopefully fireworks on the market today. Definitely some fireworks on Wednesday. I do not use TradingView. I use Thinkorswim, but everything's all the same. All the levels are the same. Birthday stock? Whose birthday is it? Rick? It's Rick's birthday? Morning. All right. Well, wait a few minutes for some people to jump in here. Press that like button nice and early Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Happy birthday, Rick. All right, let's get it started. Why not? Let's do it early. 8:03. Let's get it right into it. Here we go. So, Wednesday. What an awesome hold. What some awesome moves. Key levels held beautifully. And just a really clean upside day across the board. We have a lot of semiconductors that seem to be heating up, in my opinion. As you guys can see from the title of the live stream, there are some very interesting semiconductors out there. We've been talking about that TSM. That thing's back at all-time highs. That was one of our daily 20 SMA holds that came in beautifully. Broadcom, AVGO, another one that we were watching that was up just vertical on Wednesday. Tesla, again, strong. Nvidia finally waking up a little bit on Wednesday. We talked about that thing on the live stream Wednesday morning, saying that I had a feeling that Nvidia would start to try out of that sort of consolidation, and man, was that a beautiful move for us on Wednesday. That really paid me well, and excited to see if there's more. So some very interesting stuff. AMD as well, sort of heating up and holding, actually, for the first time. We're starting to see a little bit of a hold on AMD, which is something to be monitoring. ARM is very interesting today as well, so a lot of semiconductor focus for me today. A lot of them look to be coming off some pullbacks and some more opportunity. Qualcomm and MU, two that have been pulling back and I think are starting to show some signs of a hold. So I think there's opportunity here. But, of course, we do have economic data this morning, and that is going to be something to be watching, right? We'll have to see if the morning still looks the same after 8:30, right? Things could absolutely change here in about 25 minutes. So as of right now, things look strong, but we have to watch that 8:30 data. We have the average hourly earnings. We have the non-farm employment change, and we have the unemployment rate at 8:30 this morning. So there is some things to still be watching to see if the markets do remain strong after that data. So very important there. I believe we are heading into earnings season. It's approaching. I don't know if it's possibly next week. Nothing on the docket yet, right? Nothing really on this week, but next week, I believe, or a few weeks, coming here soon. Let me see when JPM reports, because whenever JPM reports is when earnings start. And so, yes, JPM reports on Friday of next week, which means that next week is really the week, right? So you can see right here. I know it's sort of hidden right down there, but JPM reports Friday. That means it's the start to earnings again. When those banks start to report, they always report first. So heading into some big earnings with the market at all-time highs, it's going to be interesting. But let's go ahead and jump into the futures here, guys. Let's get it started. Let's go into what happened on Wednesday and really what happened this entire week. So if we zoom in on this, actually, let's start on the hourly. We'll start zoomed out, and we'll dive down into the 30-minute. If we go on this hourly chart, what was the key, guys? We were talking about this religiously. The key was 19,900, right? 19,900 was really the key of this entire move. The daily 20 SMA as well. We talked about the daily 20 SMA catching up the price action during consolidation, and that really is just the strongest thing to see on the market, right? We've seen it many times. We talked about it. It's a time correction on the market. We talked about this in great detail on the live stream last week, or this week. It feels like last week, but it's actually still this week. That daily 20 SMA, right, catching up to consolidation. We had consolidation on the market with the daily 20 SMA catching up. And once we had that inflection point, that was really where this catalyst move, or whatever you want to call it, the springboard move right off that daily 20. You can see it right here. That 19,900 was, again, a beautiful hold on Tuesday of this week. We saw that Tuesday pop. And then on Wednesday, we saw the maintain. On Wednesday, when we got over 20,270, which was right here, we said if we can get over that 20,270, then we are going to see upside continuation. 20,270 was the previous double top high. 20,270 was the previous rejection from Friday of last week, right? And so when we saw that market get over 20,270, On Wednesday, that was really it, right? When we got over that 20,270, when we got over that pre-market high, we saw that upside continuation come in very strong. The 20,270 hold was really nice, and so is this 20,210 level right here, that 20,210. We got over that 20,270, and when we did that, that was really the move that got us to, sort of break out to new all-time highs. The previous all-time high was 20,370. And so what is happening this morning? Right here, you can see the previous all-time high of $20,370. Right there. Very clear. Previous all-time high rejection. And what we're seeing this morning is a perfect, and I mean perfect, hold of that exact all-time high. So right here, the 20,370 is the previous all-time high. That's our path, right? Path level. Previous all-time high, 20,370, which is the exact level that is holding in the pre-market today. That is, or not even just the pre-market, sorry, on the futures open yesterday, right? Because futures still traded yesterday, guys. I know the market was closed, but futures did still trade for a short day. I think it was about 9 to 12 o'clock. It was like a 3.5 hours. They still traded, right? And so you can see during that market, yesterday, we held that previous all-time high perfectly at 20,370, and we also saw that level hold on Friday late day, right? Look at this Friday late day move. This was Friday late day. Late day as in, 1 o'clock. I know it was an early close, but it was still later in the day, around 12:45, 1 o'clock. We saw that market break, pull back, hold right at that previous all-time high. That is very telling. You have to be paying attention to that. If we're above 20,370, there is zero reason to look for short side. Zero. And I mean that, right? I mean zero. Not even 1%. If we are above previous all-time high, you are doing yourself a disservice trying to bet against this market, trying to short us back below that previous all-time high. If we break below it, that's where your percentage point, that's where you start to have higher probabilities on the short side. So if you are just salivating, wanting to short this market because you can't accept that it's going higher, you need to at least wait for us to break back under previous all-time high. That is the minimum that you have to wait for to see if you can get some downside. Now, I actually like the downside if you break below that, and I'll explain to you why. Now, I don't like it for very long, but I like it for a short-term pullback. The reason I say that is because if we break back below that previous all-time high at 20,370, then you had straight up from Wednesday, right? You had a straight up move on Wednesday. So if you do break below that 20,370, I would expect us to move lower back into the 20,270, right? That would be my next move. That would be the best long opportunity of the day. Back to this 20,270, back to this 20,270, back to this 20,270. If we do pull back to this 20,270, this, for me, is the best long opportunity of the day after a pullback. That would be incredibly clean and a very nice opportunity. Now, like I said, if you do break under the 370, I would expect some downside to come in. Why do I say that? It's the same concept we talk about all the time. Straight up could mean straight down, right? So we did go straight up on Wednesday, which leaves the question of, okay, if we do break back below that 370, then I would expect straight down back into the 270. But that does not mean that the market is bearish. That just means it's a short-term pullback that I would continue to look for those pullback long opportunities. The 20,270 pullback is prime time, right? This is the prime time spot today for a long entry. If we do get that pullback, I don't know if we will, and we won't get that pullback if the market maintains the previous all-time highs. If the market holds this 370, we're not going to get that pullback. If we break below it, we will most likely get that pullback. That is what you're watching today. It is extremely clear, and you just have to make decisions based off the levels, okay? 20,210, 20,270, 20,370 are your major three levels below. Those are the levels I'd look for pullback longs into today. Let's see where it comes into post-economic data. Maybe the economic data gets us a little bit of downside, right? And we start to navigate towards that 270. We shall see. If we maintain higher and we hold above that 370, this thing is going to continue into end of week for more upside continuation. QQQ, Very, very nice hold above that 487. I'll show you guys right here, that 487 level. If we go to the hourly chart, 487 was our previous high as well. We saw right here, 487, double top highs, 487, high right there. Big rejection on Friday of last week. And when we held over that 487, and we held it all morning. If you guys listen to my live trade on Instagram, or if you're just part of the Discord community, you knew 487. And you heard us say, this thing is not giving up 487 all day on Friday. Or I'm sorry, I keep on thinking it was last week. It's such a weird week now that we're back and it's still the same week. All day on Wednesday, you saw just the most obvious and just clean wicking action off 487 all morning. All right, look at how clean that was on Wednesday. If you could just watch these levels objectively, right, and not have a bias, and you just know that that 47 just won't give up, right? You saw it over a first hour of the market. 47 clearly holding this market higher. That is a perfect hold right above the previous rejection points, right? Absolutely perfect. 487, 487, 487. The fact that the QQQ was holding above that all morning on Wednesday was just perfection. So really nice there on the Qs. We got over that all-time high at 488.70, and this morning we're above and we're at over the 490.50 level. If we go to the short term, we sort of got to look at this short term, right? For now, there is a little bit of a base here at 490.5. We can see it right there. There's a hold above that 488.70. This is our previous all-time high right here. Previous all-time high is our 488.70. And then if we do get a pullback today, that 487 again is going to be a nice spot to watch. So I'm watching this 490.5. I'm watching the previous all-time high at 488.7. And then I'm watching that 487 level that held all day on Wednesday. That was a beautiful hold on Wednesday of 487. S&P 500 futures. Let's go to the hourly chart. You guys saw that hold over that 55.60 on Wednesday morning. That was what our key level. Can we hold above 55.60? We had 55.60. We had 55.60. We had 55.60. And we had that 55.60 level once again. We saw that 55.60 level hold extremely strong. You saw that all morning, right here. If we go to the 5-minute chart, Wednesday morning, 55.60, the perfect low, the perfect upside continuation, beautiful hold over 55.70. And look at this hold right here, guys. See this late day right here, 55.85. What is that? That is previous all-time highs. We go to the hourly chart. We zoom out. We can see right here on the hourly, previous all-time highs on the ES right here, 55.85 right there. Let's put a path there. Previous all-time high, 55.85. That's going to be the level we're watching today. You can see the double top rejection right there. Do we hold above it? If the ES holds above 55.85 today, we are going higher. There's no doubt about it. If we break below 55.85, we will move back down into that 55.70. We will possibly see a retest of the 55.60. All of those levels being levels that I would be interested in looking for pullback longs off of. The highs right now seem to be around 5,600. Nice psychological clean level at 5,600. Let's see what happens there. But right here, this is the key spot today, guys. 55.85. Previous all-time highs. Previous double top highs. Nice hold coming in the pre-market. Nice hold end of day on Wednesday. Do we get that hold again? That's the spot that I would be watching today. 55.85 on the ES. SPY. We talked about that 548, 548.50. We had this zone on our charts. We said if the SPY holds above this high, right, and the SPY holds above these rejections here and this little area here, that we would see that upside continuation. And look at that hold that came in all morning on Wednesday. Right here, we pretty much perfectly held that 548, 548.50 and just sort of springboarded from that level. We're holding above 550.5. You can see right there. If we go to the hourly chart, we can see right here, guys. Look at that 550.5. That is this previous high right here. That is these highs right here. Double top highs on the SPY at 550.5. and that is the exact level that held into end of day on Wednesday. Look at this. 550.5 rejection, turning into support, turning into support, turning into support. That is beautiful stuff. So today, what are we watching? If the SPY holds over 550.5, that is a pretty obvious spot to look for that long. If we break below it, then we probably start giving back some moves, right? If we do break below that 550.5, if we do break back below that previous all-time high, then we are likely to see some give back, which would come back down to our major demand at 548. So very clear previous all-time high levels today. It's all about whether the market can hold above them. Can the market close the week holding above the previous all-time high on the SPY at 550.5, 55.85 on the ES? Can it hold above that? On the NASDAQ, can we hold above that 20,370? Very clear there. And on the QQQ, can we hold above that 488.70? It's all about if we can hold those previous all-time highs into end of week. If we can, I would expect further upside on this market. Make sure you continue to look for pullback longs when you have an opportunity. The market is clearly showing you that that's the way to look. There's no doubt about that. We've been talking about pullback longs for the last 2-3 months, guys, and every single time it has been the right move. I mean, look at this trend. Look at the market. Stop trading against it. When we get big pullbacks, look at where the opportunity is. Anyone that has been interested in pullbacks for longs has been right for the last 3 to 4 months, right? Instead of being so eager to short this market lower, just let it pull back and focus on where the levels are and look to see what long that creates. That has continued for the last 4 months to be the way to trade this market. And I don't think it's going to stop. At least it doesn't seem that way right now, unless we have some major black swan event that none of us are familiar with or none of us know about. But we do not trade waiting and hoping for some kind of black swan event. We trade with what the trend of the market is, and that is clearly the trend to be looking for. So really nice stuff on Wednesday. Just everything aligned beautifully in terms of the levels, and another beautiful trading day. So let's continue to do it, right? Let's continue to lock in. Let's continue to focus on these levels. We got 10 minutes until economic data, but let's go into Tesla, man. This is an incredible hold going on right now on Tesla. Look at this little 248 level hold. I mean, it really doesn't get much cleaner than this. Previous highs from Wednesday turning into the perfect hold right now. If Tesla holds over 248 today, you're gonna see it again, right? So you can see right here, perfect previous highs from Wednesday, triple top right there, and 248, right? I mean, look at how perfect that is. So really nice. That's what I'd be watching for today. If we get a pullback to 248, then look for that hold, right? That's exactly what I'd be looking for. That is a very nice look today on Tesla. Look to see if we can hold that 248 for that next long entry today. Look at this on Wednesday. It's about as clean as it could possibly be. If you guys are part of the Discord, you know on intraday on Wednesday, we were talking about that pullback to 240 midday, and we had a whole lesson about this trade, and that is just pure. That's about as pure as it gets. When you shoot the golf club, when you play golf and you hit something pure, and you just know that feeling that you hit that 7-iron nice and pure. This is pure, right? This is PUR pure, no E, just PUR pure. Look at that. So really nice 240, really nice 240. You break out, you pull back intraday, you hold the 240 to the T, and that creates the next long opportunity. That is right there, prime time. Break and retest long. That is prime time. Look at that hold right there. So continue to look for it. It's doing it right now, right? That's what it's doing right now. It's a break. It's a retest. It's a retest of previous highs. It's a hold of those previous highs. And look at that continuation. So you're going to continue to look for this nonstop. Your entry points on Tesla are pullbacks to previous highs every single time. Pullbacks to previous highs every single time. That is how a stock moves higher. It breaks out of the highs. it pulls back to it, that's your long. It breaks out of the highs, it pulls back to it, that's your long. It breaks out of the highs, it pulls back to it, that's your long. Every single time. Look at it again on Tesla. Let's see if it does it again. If it just continues higher today, then you put your new high on, right? 253.78, 254. Let's call it 254. So you watch to see, can we get a break of that 254? Can we pull back to it, right? And can we continue higher? That's what I'd be looking for. That is some nice stuff on Tesla this morning. To the upside, the only major level I have here, guys, like major level, is right here at 265. That's really the only next major supply level that I'm watching on the 4-hour chart. You can see right here, 265, 265. That's likely where Tesla is looking to creep up into. 265 on Tesla, something I'd be watching. Nvidia. Up really big on this one right now. We'll see if it can continue for me today. But you guys know we were talking about that trend. We were talking about this downtrend. We were saying how Nvidia was sort of consolidating, right? Really consolidating above that 120 demand. And on Wednesday, we got the push. We got the push on Wednesday. A beautiful push to the upside. Very nice squeeze. And we're above that daily 20. And we're above that 126.50. So today, it's all about, for me, does Nvidia hold over this 126.50? Does it hold above the daily 20? That's going to be the key. Do we hold above these highs right here? You can see all these highs at 126.50. Do we hold above that level? And do we hold above that daily 20? If we see a pullback on Nvidia to this 126.50, and if we see that pullback come in and that hold, that is your next long entry. That is exactly what I'd be looking for today. That would be a pullback to these previous highs. That is the exact level that held intraday on Friday. You can see right here. I'm sorry, Friday again. I keep on saying Friday. That is the exact, it feels like a new week. That is the exact level that held on Wednesday. Look at that hold late day on Wednesday at 126.50 and that daily 20 SMA, right? This whole zone right here. So today, if you get a pullback, I would be watching this 126.50 and that daily 20 SMA, wherever it might be, for that long today. If you break 130, we are in we are in blast off zone, in my opinion. If we break over this shelf at 130, it's extremely clear, right? 130, 130. If we do get a break over 130 and hold above that, I think you're going to see new all-time highs on Nvidia. That is the level that validates, to me, the push to new all-time highs for Nvidia. We have to get over $130 per share. If we can get over that, if we can clear this high, if we can get back above these lows, I do not see anything of rejections coming in above that. This is really the key shelf level. A hold above this would really turn this bullish, in my opinion. So look for that 130 level today. We might not get it today. It might take some more time, but that is absolutely where you should be watching Nvidia to see if it gets above in the future here. AMD. Little bit of a characteristic change on AMD lately, guys. Something to be paying attention to. I'm not sure I'm ready to trust this thing, but there is definitely something changing here slightly. You guys can see right here on AMD, we have now held over 163. This is the first time that we have seen AMD hold above this level. First time over the last 2 weeks. Every single other time when you've gotten above 163, you have failed back below that level aggressively. Every other time. This is the first time in the last 2 to 3 weeks that you have seen AMD maintain that level all day. So, is this 163 level now your new low that can continue this market higher? If it can, I would absolutely be watching this 163 for longs. That is interesting. But there's a couple problems as to why I'm still a little bit cautious, okay? There is still a reason why I'm cautious here, and that's why we zoom out. And when we zoom out, we can see there is still a behemoth of a level up here at 170. That is also the 100 SMA. That is also the daily 100 SMA up at 170. That is slightly concerning, okay? That's still slightly concerning there. You can see 170, 170. 170, 170, and the daily SMA at 170. So if we do pop, be careful of 170. That could still fade us, right? But really, where it clears up for me is a hold above this level. A hold above 170 would be the clearing level for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set an alert there. I probably won't touch AMD before that. If you want to get aggressive with it, you could watch that 163 for that long entry. But you need to understand, if you do enter long there, you are still up against the major level of 170. So you could try that long F163. You'd have good risk reward, right? It's a good risk reward trade up into that 170. Very much so. But you do need to understand that it still is a little bit questionable in terms of probabilities with that 170 there. So 163, that's what I'd watch. But that 170 is really the level I'd want to see break. We were talking about TSM. We could not have been more correct on this name. It could have not been any cleaner. Daily 20 SMA. We talked about this on the live stream. We talked about how this stock pulls back to the daily 20, holds it, and pushes higher. This is the exact thing it did again. It pulled back to the daily 20, it held it, and look at this push higher. It's the same thing over and over again. Guys, I see the data. I have a clock in front of my face. 170, that daily 20 SMA hold. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Absolutely gorgeous. Today, I would be a little bit cautious here of that 185. Okay, let me zoom into this. I'd be a little bit cautious of that 185, right? That's a little bit of an extended level. I'd want to see us hold above it. If we do not, then I'd expect a pullback right here to 182. This would be my pullback level to watch TSM. If we do get a pullback, look for a gap fill to 182, see if that's your long or just a hold over 185. Okay? All right, let's see what this data does, right? This data either makes or breaks the short-term bullish action. Regardless, there is pullback longs on the horizon, but we have to see which level we're going to be trading off of. Let's see what this data does. Here we go. Little up, little down. Bouncing off that. Oh, look at that bounce off 370. Let's see if that holds. That would be incredible. A huge wick right off that 370. And there it goes. Wow. Look at that 370 level on the NASDAQ. Okay. I mean, it's just as clear as it can possibly get. I mean, that's going to be your level. There's no doubt about it. That has to hold. That has to hold. If we hold above this, you're going higher. If we break below this, you're going lower. It's about as simple as that. So right now, you can see that data. It wicked back into that 370. You saw that big buying come off that 370 level. S&P 500 came right back down to that 55.85. That's our previous all-time high. Pushed exactly higher off that level. Let's see if it holds, of course. It's still questionable, still short-term. SPY's holding above that previous all-time high. And QQQ held right at that 490.5. So those levels are holding. And that's going to be your spot. No doubt about it. That's going to be your spot, no doubt about it. Can we hold above it? We have to see. Tesla, not much action on it. Nvidia, little pop off that, not too much. AMD, a little bit of a pop. TSM, look at that TSM 185 going on. That's something to watch there. 185, keep an eye on that. That's what I'd be watching. All right? This is probably the stock that I get heavy in today, guys. I'm just going to be fully honest with you. This is an insane opportunity. We caught this perfectly last week or this week. I keep on saying the same thing, but I'm looking to get back into this, and I'm looking to get a little bit more risky on her. So this was the trade we took last week. You guys can see it right here. We took some AVGO, some Broadcom, July 5th, 1,700 calls for 13. We took them again at 10. Right here. We took those one contract at 10 again. Those contracts are probably up in the $50 range today. So that's about a 500% return on AVGO. You guys know we've been talking about Broadcom. All right, we were talking about this daily chart. How Broadcom had a blowout earnings, has pulled back down to that daily 20, and look at that just sort of curl off that daily 20 on the daily. Absolutely beautiful. I see Broadcom at new highs if this market stays strong, and I'm absolutely watching this insanely clean level at 1735 today. Look at this right here. 30-minute chart on Broadcom. You can see right here, 1735, 1735, 1735. And look at that 1735. That was the exact level we went to from that 1650 low. 1650, 1650. We got over it on Wednesday and Thursday. I'm sorry, Tuesday and Wednesday. We just trampolined off 1650. And I'd be looking for that same thing today off 1735. If we hold over that 1735 on Broadcom, my expectation is for us to move into 1800. Above that, you have 1830. Above that, all-time highs 1880. Split is coming here soon for Broadcom, so I think that will also help this to be slightly more bullish. I would absolutely be looking for a hold of 1735 today on Broadcom for more upside. Very big watch. That's going to be a big one for me. Let's go to ARM, because ARM is breaking out very interesting here. ARM had a very clear wedge on that daily and 4-hour. You can see it's maintaining that daily 20 SMA very nicely. 1, 2, 3 daily SMA just curling higher. We broke back over 167. If ARM holds above 167, I would expect this to continue higher as well. Here's ARM back over 167. You can see it right here. 167, 167. Look at that hold over 167 on Wednesday. If we hold above that 167, my anticipation is that we see more upside on ARM. You're probably going to get it back towards this 179, 178 area. That would be my ultimate target, back to that all-time high around 179. But I would love to get along off that 167 level. If we can get a pullback, this would be exactly where I'd be watching it. All right, the two semiconductors that are sort of coming back, right? These are like the comeback trades. These are the comeback kids right here after some big pullbacks. That is MU and Qualcomm. Here's MU, and here's why I think there is something that's starting to form here. On the 4-hour chart, if we go and put a blank drawing set here, we can see that MU has successfully, for now, held above the previous highs at 130, right here. We have previous major highs at 130. We have previous rejections in this 130 area, and look at the pullback long. Look at the pullback that has created off 130. We are very clearly holding over 130 right now and the daily 50 SMA. Okay, so 130 is a very nice level. Now, if we dive down a little bit deeper onto the 30-minute chart, there is some levels to still be watching to make sure you have a clear move to the upside, and that is, for me, 139. I need this to break 139 first. I need this to get back over the daily 20, and I need this to turn 139 into a new low. That is where I need this to go before I am interested in longing this. I do not want to long into the daily 20. We have seen the rejections come in. We've seen the rejections come in. So I don't want to do it yet, but it's definitely something I'm watching. And what I do in this situation is I go like this. I create an alert. I go at or above 139. And if I get that alert, then I know that it might be game time. So 139, that's my spot. If we get above it, I'm looking to see if that continues. Qualcomm is another one that has pulled back aggressively since this big push. It has pulled back into that daily 50 SMA, just like MU, right? Very nice. It is now back over 200, which is very key. If you hold above 200, I assume Qualcomm continues to try to grind higher, and it would grind higher to me into 210. And 210 is the level that I need to see Qualcomm break above to feel like it's game time. Why is that? Because that's a previous rejection point, right? You can see right here some previous rejections at 210, some previous holds at 210, but also that's right where that daily 20 SMA is. So for me, I want Qualcomm over 210. If you want to get more aggressive on her, then you look for a pullback to 200, right? You look for a pullback to 200, and then you look to long it into 210. But I think I'm going to wait for 210 to break. If it does, I think this is game time for more upside. Let's go to SMCI. SMCI probably the one that I stay away from, but of course SMCI on any given day has the opportunity to squeeze. We have very clearly seen that. But SMCI is starting to hold over that 830. That's quite interesting. You can see right here that 830 level. We're trying to hold above that. That's very key. We're holding above that daily 20 and 50. If SMCI holds above that, you can absolutely see more upside action Next level would be 880 above. And then, of course, it's going to get pretty heavy in that 930 area. But a very nice hold of 800 and a very nice hold of that 830 right now. It might be trying to stair step higher here, right? I would watch that 830 and I'd watch that 800 on SMCI. How's the market looking? Yeah, still maintaining. Rejecting that high, but maintaining for now. All right. Let's go to Meta. Meta 511 is your key watch today, right here. That's a very clear level. Meta 511. If Meta can hold over 511, I think there's more upside. The key thing that I saw happen on Wednesday was right here, guys. Look at this stair step that's starting to form on Meta. You can see right here. We have that previous 505 rejection point. Very clear. That turned into a hold. And look at the holds on Wednesday. Very, very clear. Previous rejection points into support. That is a stair step higher, right? That is a higher high, higher low. Right there. Right there. Perfect. Right above the daily 20. Right above 505. That's a very clear previous rejection point into a short-term low. That is very nice. That's exactly what you're looking for. So today, what are you looking for today? You're looking for the same thing to set up. Previous rejection point into a new short-term low at 511. If you get that, I think more upside. That's what I'd be watching on Meta. Let's go to Apple. Apple on this stair step to heaven, basically. Look at this stair step higher since that pullback. We've talked about Apple pullback opportunities. We talked about that 215. That was a beautiful hold on Tuesday. We talked about that 220. And right now we're holding above the 220. So if we hold above 220 on Apple, that's a very nice watch today. That's very clear, very textbook. Look to see if Apple can maintain 220 today. That's what you're looking for. 220, 220, 220. That's what you're looking for on Apple. $220. Look to see if that can maintain. Let's go to Netflix. Netflix is another one that if we go to the daily chart, we've been talking about this daily 20 SMA. We're talking about how Netflix consolidates, daily 20 catches up, and we push. Netflix consolidates, daily 20 catches up, and we push. I would expect the exact same thing here. Look at how clean this sort of structuring move is. Consolidation, daily 20, explosion. Consolidation, daily 20. This is your next move most likely. That's what I'll be looking for. If we get over 690, that would be the move that I would expect on Netflix. You just can't quite fight how clean this has been, right? It is about as clean as it gets. So we'll make this yellow here. That's your yellow. That's your daily 20. This is your consolidation phase that causes that upside push. This is your consolidation phase that could cause that upside push off the daily 20 again. Extremely clear there on Netflix. If we go to the short-term time frames, we can look at some key levels in the short term to sort of structure our trades off of. We can see right here, this is a nice consolidation, a nice push off the daily 20, a hold back above 674. If we can hold above that 674, then I would look for that upside continuation, maybe a long off 674. You need to break over this 690. That's the key. Amazon structuring higher very nicely as well. Look at the stair steps, right? Look at how this market is, look at how it's structuring here. You had your nice hold of 193. You had your hold above that 195. And look at the hold that's coming in at 197. 197 holding very nicely. If Amazon holds above 197, you're going to continue higher. The next level to be careful of course, is 199.50, which is that previous high. You can see it right here. Previous high, 199.50, 199.50, 199.50. So you got to be a little bit cautious of that 199.50 still. But I would definitely watch that 197. If Amazon can hold that level, there could be a nice long entry off that level. If you want to wait for us to pop and hold over 199.50 for your next long opportunity. There's two ways to play this. Either trade the pullback long into demand, or you wait for that previous rejection point to hold back as a support. 199.50, 197 would be my two levels to watch today on Amazon. Let's go to Google, because Google pretty much did the same thing as Amazon. It pulled back into those lows and pretty much just popped higher. So you can see right here, we pulled back into that 183 low. This was the level we longed it off of on Tuesday. Very nice upside move. Holding above 186, holding above 186. upside continuation. So today, very clear here, 187.50, 187.50, 187.50, 187.50, previous triple top high. Can you hold above it? Can you hold above 187.50 for more upside? That's what I'd be watching. If you pull back below it, you're coming back to that 186, and that would be my next spot to look for that long entry off 186. 187.50, 186. The only thing I'm going to do on Bitcoin for you guys, I'll quickly show you, is how important the 58,780 break was. We talked about this. I had an alert actually on this, and I saw it go off this weekend. So I'm sure you guys, if you come to the live streams and you have a memory, right, you probably remember us putting that level there, right here at this low, at the 58,780, right? We had that level. That got hit. We saw that rejection underneath it. This is a major level here at 53,000 on Bitcoin. That's probably a level that could maintain itself. That's also the daily 200 SMA on Bitcoin, 53,000. That's about all I'm going to give you there because I don't trade Bitcoin. Let's go to Shop because there is an interesting hold going on here on Shop. I did want to point this out today. Look at this maintain above 63 on Shopify. Very interesting maintain on Shop, right? Look at this, 63, 63. You got to break over that 68 though. 68 in the 200 SMA, if you guys are interested in Shopify, you do need to get above 68, right? You got to get above 68. You got to hold above it. That's what I'd be watching. Microsoft. Yeah, let's go Microsoft real quick. Microsoft, really just on a rope right now. We got to sort of go short term here. Here's your Microsoft key levels. You can see right here, 457.50 and that 455. I'd look for pullbacks into the 457.50 for longs. I'd look for pullbacks into 455 for longs. That's where you're looking along, right? Previous highs right here, previous high, new low, all right, guys? It happens over and over and over again. Previous double top high into a new low. That's what you continue to look for, all right? This is called stair-stepping upside. Coinbase, big drop because of Bitcoin. It's under that 220 level. Once again, I've recommended this for 2 weeks, 3 weeks now. I've actually recommended it since this high to stop trading Coinbase. I don't like what it's doing. It's just sort of doing nothing. What the hell did I just do? I just did something on my charts. I don't know what I think I just deleted a number. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of trading Coinbase, especially now with some of this Bitcoin divergence from the market. I don't quite understand what it's going to do, but 220, that's the level I'd watch. Guys, there are so many better things to be trading, like so many. I mean, there's just insane moves every day on Tesla, insane moves on Nvidia, right? Maybe lately not so much, but there is, right? Insane moves on TSM, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, right? All these very clean upside, stair-stepping, perfect technical analysis holds, right? Why even trade coin? Why look at it? All right. So many other stocks that are just so clean on an intraday basis. Amazon has been insanely clean. Google has been so nice lately. TSM, perfect, right? There's a lot of stocks out there that there's just way better trades. It's just not even worth looking at Coinbase, really, right? Trade these things that have this price action, that have volume, that are following the market. It's just so much easier. We talked about this in a live stream before. It's your probabilities of being right. If the market's going straight up, right, which it is, if the market continues to stay strong, your probabilities of being right on the long side on just a stock that follows the market is so much higher, right? If you just long the QQQs last week, maybe you didn't even have a good entry point, but you just sort of saw the market holding up, you're probably making a lot more money than you would if you're trading something that's just a total shit show versus the market. Just trade the things that have correlation to the market, that are moving higher with the market. Make it easy, guys. It doesn't have to be difficult, right? We don't need to trade something that's just so whacked. That's my opinion. No, we're not trading NEO. No, we're not trading Rivian, right? We're trading large cap tech stocks that are following the market. These contracts are just as cheap as your shitty stocks that you may trade, right? CRM. Yeah, let's take a look at CRM because that thing is in this gap, and it's probably going to close that gap today, right? 267. That's your sort of gap fill area, 267. I'd be a little bit careful into there, right? 267. That's where I'd be careful. That's right here, guys. That's your gap fill at 267. So a little bit of caution there. But that is, look at this hold going on. Look at that hold on CRM. That's very clear. Look at that 260 hold right there. See that? Look at that. Perfection. CRM, previous highs into new lows. Look at that, right? This is what you're looking for every single day. It happens every single day. Previous highs into new lows. Look at how clean that is. Look at the upside continuation coming off of it. So if CRM's above 260 today, you're looking for that pullback. You're looking for that long, right? Look for that 260 to be your springboard for CRM. Just be careful into 267. Snow. Yeah, I mean, it's finding some strength lately. Again, I will reiterate, it's a stock that has been total shit versus the market, so you are against that, so make sure you understand that before you trade it. I'd be very careful on Snow into this 145 level. You have 145 previous lows, and you have a daily 50 SMA sitting right above. Right, you can see right here that daily 50 SMA sitting right above, and you saw that rejection on Tuesday. Look at that 145 rejection. So I'd be very careful of 145, very careful of that daily 50. I think there's better stocks to be trading, but if you do see a valid hold over 145, you might be able to try it, right? Or if you see a hold over that 50, you might be able to try it. Just know that, right? You just know, right? If Snow goes down and the market's going up, you have no one to blame but yourself, right? You know this, right? You know that there's stocks that are not moving with the market. So if you are going to trade something that is not moving with the market, then you need to be anticipating of that. You need to be anticipatory. I know I'm trading Snow. I know it's been weak versus the market. So if it doesn't do what I want it to do, and I'm not getting frustrated, I shouldn't get frustrated because I knew coming into this trade that it hasn't quite been following the market as the other stocks have been, right? Amazon, Google, right? It's things that have been really grinding higher with the market. If I'm going to go off and start trading some of the outliers, then I need to understand that there might be some questionable things that go on here, and I need to protect myself, all right? Things you need to know before you get involved in those names. All right. Let's go to the futures one last time before we head out of here. A little bit of a hold on the non-farm payrolls. Not much of a continuation. So we're going to have to see, right? Still questionable here. Again, make sure you understand what I say here is not that the market's only going to go higher. What I'm saying here is that if we hold above this level, we go higher. So intraday today, guys, we're not stones. We're not set. We're not foundations, okay? We react to what's going on. If this thing drops under 370, there is most likely going to be some downside today into that 270. So make sure you're paying attention to that. Look to see what happens at this 370 level. If we pull back to it and hold, there's a long entry. If we pull back to it and we fail below, that's a short. That's what you're watching. You have to react to what this market is doing. 55.85 on the ES, SPY. You can see right here. That's your SPY 550.50. That's the other level. And then the QQQ 490.5. React to those levels today. That's what you're doing. All right? Hope you guys have a fantastic Friday. I hope this prepared you for the trading day. If you want to trade live with me every single day, make sure to check it out down below in the Discord. If you guys want some merchandise, I got a few shirts left. If you use the code TTL, trust the levels. If you use code TTL in the merch store down below, 50% off today. It ends Sunday. I'm going to get rid of all the shirts that I have left. We got some new shirts coming. I'll actually show you a little sneak peek of what we're working on. This is a pretty cool one. I like it, at least, because I like the need money for Porsche shirts. This is need money for trading. I like this one. The other one is need money for Porsche. You guys have seen this. Need money for Porsche. I'm sure you've seen that online. This is need money for trading. So got these coming out soon. So if you guys want to get some discounted merchandise that's left, check it out. Rep the brand. And I will see you guys on Monday. Peace and love.